Hey, sports fans, this is John Kuntz, and welcome to the Skylander sports scene right here on WRSK 97.5. My guest today is Bill McNeir. Bill McNeir has been a long-time resident of the county, has been involved and viewed many scholastic and collegiate sporting events here at the college and around the county. So welcome to the show, Bill.
Thanks, John. A pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, first let's start here. Give us a little background information. You taught for many, many years. You've been involved in sideline personnel for various schools and our college here as a scoreboard operator and the like. So give us a little background.
All right, John, thanks. It's interesting. It's funny how 38 years goes so quick and everything. I think what happened was I started out way back in the 70s. A guy, Earl Gardner, Vernon guy. He was the first athletic director I had a chance to work with at West Milford High School. And he gave me an opportunity to learn how to run score clocks and announce and all that. And then I carried it through. So right after high school, I ended up at McNeir State College. I traveled with the men's basketball team. At that time, that was the only opening they had. Football wanted me, but I thought that was too long of a season, my studies and everything. So I worked under this great coach, Ollie Gelston.
Oh, I remember the name, yeah. I remember Ollie, yeah.
He was a tremendous coach here in Jersey, one of the top Division III, and got to travel with that program. So, but I also got to run college clocks. I got to announce. I learned quite a bit, and then worked on their television station as well, doing some games there. So from there, I got a job on a local radio station while I was in college in Pompton Lakes. So I worked at the radio station. Okay. I called football games then, John.
Oh, all right.
And
high school football
games, and we covered all, like North Jersey, but not Sussex County, because the signal from that radio station was only in AM, so it would only go for a certain radius.
Right.
So I worked. It was almost 18 years I worked at that. Wow. And then I had graduated from McNeir, and I still continued on. And my first job was at Kinnelon High School in Morris County. And from there, I got to meet up with a great AD, one of the first ones, John Byduk.
I remember that name, yeah.
Right. John was the AD at Kinnelon.
Yeah.
He's now the interim AD at Mountain Lakes.
Oh, okay.
So for people that know that, they'll know him as a great basketball coach, John.
Yeah,
He's like you are, and you were, and a tremendous person. So I worked with him. So I was in Kinnelon for 16 years. So you got to learn how about what a site manager did and what announcers did and the clock and all of that. So I carried it over through the college and that the opportunities I had, and then from there I went to Pequannock. They had a job opportunity for me down there in media, which I did, in technology. And so I learned from a guy, Pat Lally, who was I worked with him 17 years. When I had left there, I went back and worked a number of years. And then one day, I was in school. I worked in Andover. I left Pequannock and went to Andover. And I got a call from former softball coach here, Ben Master. Mm-hmm. And Ben had called me, and he had asked me that, did I know anything about how to run a soccer clock here at the college? So I said, how about we give it like a 30-day trial? I said, and that's what I did with all the other stuff I did, And I came along, and it was simple. I mean, I met you. I had heard about you for all the years, John, all the great things that you did with the college, starting over at Tech and then moving when it moved here to College Hill, which was terrific. So I thought, okay, let's see if I can handle this, and it was fine. And soccer was, just coming along. I mean, you'd had it for years here, so I just became another person in that position. And take a look now, 10 years later, not only am I doing soccer for you, basketball for here at the college, which I'm very appreciative, and so.
Helping with baseball and
softball games.
Manager.
Yeah, and basketball too.
Announcing at the softball games, the lineups, and the batters coming to the plate.
Yeah, and what you want to do though is you want to make it a home feel. When you're at college and you're out there playing, you deserve to have those accolades and announce and do the things we do in between innings and give the people music and all those things as well. And you've been kind enough, to give me that opportunity, John. So it's carried through. But I'm retired now from education, so I continue to stay on track with all my athletics. I don't want to give them up. I got married 30 years ago, and I told my wife Margaret, I said, "Listen, here's how it goes." I said, "It's for better or for worse or for athletics." So she built right into that. So it's been good all the way through.
And you've been doing some work at some of the other high schools around the county.
Well,
too,
years ago, I was the announcer for the SCIL finals at Walk Hill.
The basketball finals.
Basketball, yeah. When they had the basketball final, I filled in as an announcer at Sussex Tech over the years when a guy, Bob Lucas, was the AD over there.
Bob.
And so from there, then I was picked as the announcer. Mike Van Zyl, who was the AD over at Walk Hill then, had known me and helped me get into Montclair State, John. And he had good ties down there. He was an All-American football player with Montclair State. And he helped me get in down there. I met a lot of great people down there and then moved forward. And he got to Walk Hill, and then I announced for years that I announced those. I was a PA announcer for those finals, which was great. You know, good stuff. And so, you know, and then to watch a lot of those kids move forward and go to colleges and, you know, and prime opportunities to see some of these youngsters come here to Sussex County Community College as well.
Let's talk a little bit about that. You know, you've witnessed now over the last 10 years that we've been together and working athletic events here at the college. And so you've seen a lot of competitions, you know, for our men's and women's soccer teams, our two basketball teams, our baseball and softball team, and you've seen athletes from the county come through here and compete. What has been your observations of their competition here at the two-year college level that they compete against?
Well, I like the idea that there is a two-year college that these young men and women can come and compete. And I think it's a great opportunity for these, you know, young men and young women to participate, you know, in college athletics. There's so many of them, I think, that just fall through the cracks and probably could be good athletes or good players, and that, and I think they need to like take a look around and say, listen, I could play another 2 years. I played high school maybe for 3 or 4 years, and I think this is a great opportunity. I've watched the programs evolve and really have advanced in the last 10 years, John. Soccer program is a phenomenal program in the last number of years. And I mean, making it to Final Fours with the women's and the men's program to let the athletes know that are listening to this today. And it's a great opportunity. You need to come and see games here on the college level. If you're a senior, you know, or junior in high school, come out and take a look at the college. Take a look at our athletics, see what we have. Baseball's making up and coming. Softball doing phenomenal. The numbers, that's what I've seen, John. I've seen a lot more numbers in 10 years coming up, and it's, you know, it's a great thing. And the coaches, I think, are bonded with the players, and they're staying here, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think, like you said, this is a great opportunity for the student athletes in our communities to look at Sussex County Community College as an option to attend school, get a good education, play athletics, and contribute right away, and not have to sit behind somebody or maybe not even make the team at the 4-year level, and get an affordable, you know, 2-year education under their belt. And then if they wanted to move on to the 4-year school, they could.
And if anybody thinks that the competition is any less, they're wrong. The competition is just as good on this 2-year level as it is on a 4-year level. I'd say even Division III, you know, and Division II, John. And really, there's been a lot of great athletes that have come out, and they're moved forward after the 2 years, obviously, but it's from their skills. But the skills got to be developed with the coaching staffs, and you know, and I think that's a big part of it. But I'm a very firm believer in if someone stays with a program for a number of years, and it's going to really become a, you know, terrific.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for young men and women. And like you said, the competition is excellent. I mean, the 2-year college competition around the state of New Jersey with, you know, Brookdale Community College, Gloucester County, Camden County, Passaic County, Bergen County, Middlesex County, they're all formidable foes, and they all have excellent players, and you've got to bring it night in and night out in every sport that we play. You know, there's not one particular sport say, well, we're a little down in this sport. No. I've seen it in soccer, I've seen it in basketball, I've seen it in softball, I've seen it in baseball as well. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that, John. I think that the coaches that I see from the other colleges here in the state, and even I know it's Region 19 and we're playing New York and Pennsylvania and things like that. But again, I've been witnessing in the 10 years that I've seen a steady stream. The coaches are even on the visiting side that we're playing against. They stay there. They maintain. They believe in the 2-year colleges, and it is a great opportunity. And I think that people are missing out, and I really think they need to come and see what Sussex County Community College has to offer, not only academically. Come and see their athletic programs. Come. You've taken the campus has all been redone to a point. You've taken the gymnasium here. You've made that into the best working unit that you can have here. Now a new program you're talking about starting is men's lacrosse coming out. Very few years, I'd say 10 years ago in high school, there might have just been maybe a few teams. Now there's over 300 teams in this state. So there's an opportunity for all those young guys that are out there that are playing lacrosse. Look, you're looking for an alternative, come to Sussex County Community College. Get 2 more years of lacrosse. And like you had said before, John, I agree with you, that it's an opportunity for someone that may say, well, I don't think I'm going to make a Division III. Well, you can play 2 more years here, and maybe your skills will get honed a little bit more. Well, somebody will see you. Look, this year we had 2,000-point scorers. You may see that in high school. We do see that from time to time, but they're phenomenal players.
Did it in a 2-year period. Both of them, Brielle Hilbert from your neck of the woods over at Walk Hill Valley, and Frankie Rios from right here in Newton, both scored their 1,000th point this year within 2 days of each other, and did it, competing in 2 years.
To watch, this is what I'm saying, John, and I agree with you. To watch the women's program, they're now moving forward over the years. It was a little lean for a bit. We'll agree on that, and everybody saw that. But now there seems to me now will be a constant flow. And even some of the players from some of the high schools have been here this year, here in the county, to take a look and see, because that's what they're thinking. I could play another 2 years. Look, there's an opportunity, so go ahead and take it.
Yeah. And like you said, a lot of great things happening here at the college. You're listening to the Skylander Sports Scene, broadcasting from Sussex County Community College. My name's John Kuntz, the athletic director here at Sussex County Community College, and my guest today is Bill McNeir, longtime resident of the county, very involved in interscholastic athletics and the collegiate athletics over the last 10 years here at Sussex County Community College. And we're going to continue our conversation here about the good things that you've seen happen here most recently. A few years ago, we got a new president, and Dr. John Conley, very supportive of the athletic program.
Definitely.
You saw a lot of new things coming in. You mentioned the men's lacrosse is being added. We're going to start competing in the spring of 2019. We redid the gym floor. We built a new fitness room for our students as well as our athletes. Installed new lighting in the gym, installed a new batting cage for our baseball program, looking to make upgrades on our soccer facility, going to put in a practice field for men's lacrosse, and once we get men's lacrosse in, we'll be adding a female sport the following year. What that sport will be, we don't know yet, but we will be adding a varsity level women's athletic team in the 1920 school year. So what have you seen? You've seen all those things, right? What do you think?
I think that it's a great move for the college to do at this time. Having a women's program coming on in, like you said, 2019 and 2020, is that correct?
Right. Yep.
That'll really also benefit a lot of the young women that are looking for another opportunity to do some things. If you watch the women's basketball team this year, they really, really excelled. And you know that. You had said that at the awards ceremony that night, John. Mm-hmm. And there were young ladies out there that may have never, ever played basketball before, but at least they were part of a team. And I think that's just as part as being important as is going out there and, competing. But you can't. Again, Brielle Hilbert, tremendous, 1,000 points, and Frankie Rios, 1,000 points. But I watched the teams, though, they were bonding now. And I've seen this through soccer now for the last number of years. Softball's coming on. Baseball's doing well so far. this season, as I can tell. I think, and it's a good thing. And I think the more I know, it's a lot of extra work for you, John, but I'm sure it's gratifying too that you're having extra sports. And Dr. Connolly being here is very, very positive. In the 10 years, I'm just an independent observer, but I'm sure some of the other presidents, they were here, they came and left, but he seems to be more enthusiastic about sports.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been very supportive of our programs. He attends events, comes to games, roots for our kids, attends their end of season receptions and says a few words to them, gives them a message and congratulates them, and always tells them that they bring distinction to the college, notoriety and distinction in what they do on the athletic field.
If it's only 10 minutes, John, it's the world to some of those kids out there that they see that, they know we're there, and, we're always there. And but to see him show up, and you've had some of your other administration in the past, and the staff up here, they're some of the most supportive staff people I've seen, the professors here that like sports and come out and support it. And that's all important. And, everybody needs to know. Take a look. Just don't say, well, Sussex this, Sussex that. Don't say that. Just come out and take a look. That's why it's important. And we do. And athletics are going to be growing here, and I think there are going to be a lot of other things in the next 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, yep. I think you're going to see a lot more new things coming here to Sussex County Community College. All right, let's turn the tables a little bit. Let's take a little walk down memory lane here. You and I have been around for many, many years. I started my career up here coaching at Pope John.
Wow.
Back in the late
you were good, too. They told me you were good.
Back in the 80s. So. What comes to mind when you think back of some of the – I can think back of some of those guys that I coached against. I can still picture them, like it was yesterday. Guys like Mike Parachuk and Dennis Tobin and Teddy Barbado over at Sparta.
Legends, yeah.
Don Smolin, who's still coaching at Lenape Valley. He was the athletic director and football coach.
Retired now.
Now retired, just coaching football. Bobby Milello coaching baseball over at Newton High School.
Now doing sprinkler systems down in Central Jersey.
Is he?
Yeah, but he's.
What do you think about those guys?
Oh, boy.
What do you remember about those guys?
I'll tell you. Don Smolin comes to mind, right off the bat. Vic Paterastro. From Pope John and those Saturdays and all of those games, and it was always Lenape and Pope John battling it out, for those towns. And of course, the Sparta, with, like you said, Ron Earl, we were talking about earlier, and that field, Dick Castles, goes way back to the beginning. But again, there was not a public league with the, it's back to the parochials, obviously, now in the high schools. But back then, I can remember that the parochials, John, played on Sundays at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's what it was. Some were 1:30, but most of the games were Sundays at 2 o'clock. Then everything obviously changed. We've had league changes now. You have things in Region 19. Teams moving, different divisions and things like that. Don Smolin still looks like he did. I saw him at a scrimmage this past fall in Vernon. He always gets a way to win. He has a way to win. So, and Sparta was always good with that. I remember the coaches from over there, like you had mentioned, and now the Brennans are very involved in Sparta. Pat Brennan, and his dad was a big coach up here years ago, and wrestling is doing good. You see high school football's. The numbers are going down in high schools, John. That's not good. Yeah, population's declining a little bit here in Sussex County. We know that here at the college, but it's still good. You need to have those programs. It brings a sense of community to those towns. It's kind of unfortunate that the SCIL, broke up when the state moved everybody around and everything. We had a nice little league going there. We had rivalries that were created and everything, but that's all changed, and times change, and people have to change with them. And what's going to happen now, I think, in the for next year in the NJAC, as they call it, I think teams that have not performed that well are going to be seeded with teams that have not performed well, so that they can be somewhat on the same playing field. So you're not playing whatever. I cannot say that in lacrosse, though, John, because lacrosse, if you do well, they move you up a level, and but. Again, but I have to say this, though. Let's talk about, and we'll go back to some of those coaches because I really like to dive into that. Two guys that are very important, or three, let's say, up in this area for lacrosse for the high school levels. Harry Shortway,
right,
from Vernon, John. Also, Scott Reed from Jefferson High School. Scott and Harry have been the closest of friends for years and have gotten this evolved, as did Pat Brennan over in Sparta. But Harry and Scott have been the big, proponents of this. And
George Morville was kind of the guy that kicked it off. I
was just going to mention George too, coaching Kittatinny for all those years, and doing a tremendous job. Yeah, he very valuable person here in the county is George, and a big supporter of the college too.
Oh, absolutely. And the guy that we hired for our men's lacrosse team, Kevin Nissel, to be our first head men's lacrosse coach, disciple of George Morville. Played at Kittatinny, was a player of the year for the county when Kevin was there. So we're glad to have Kevin on our staff now.
Yeah, George is. He also, I watched him on the sidelines. Very calming influence. His players loved him. They respected him. There's no yelling or screaming or anything, not like the days when, John, we all used to be involved in athletics. But but it's a whole different style now. I watch. I mean, okay, fine, their coaches raised their voices, but it's going to be, Kevin is going to be definitely will be a positive added influence, John, here at the college.
Yeah. Here's a couple other names I'd like to throw out to you. Very important to the athletic world.
I hope we do
Mark
a couple
Schulte. Mark Schulte, Joe Galeta. Officials.
Hey.
Longtime officials.
And still working.
Yeah.
And still working,
And
John.
still working.
Mark Schulte is, he trains basketball officials, softball officials. Mark's been a legend here in the county. Worked at Kittatinny for years. Was, I think, in the guidance department over there. Joe Galeta is turning 84 years old.
Jeez.
He still works high school soccer. He's doing baseball. He's doing football in Central Jersey now. He works with a crew that works in the Sayreville, like down in Hunterdon County. But he lives in Pennsylvania, and the guy doesn't even look that age. So
those guys are unbelievable. I can remember them as much as I can remember the coaches that I competed against and the teams that I could compete. Mark Schulte was a mainstay in basketball.
Right.
You would see
Always.
him every week somewhere.
Yeah.
In the county working a game, and you knew if you had him on the game, you were going to get a good game called out of Mark. Excellent official, excellent softball, baseball official. I really respect him an awful lot, and the same with Joe.
Yeah, definitely. And Mark is still working, obviously. So like in Joe, and I'll see him during the softball season. He'll be around. So and that. So they're definitely names of the past. I kind of think I was. We were going back to the old Skyline Conference, John, and that's where a lot of stuff started before the SCIL and all of that, because it was the SCIL plus Kinnelon, Butler, Pompton Lakes, and then you had the teams from up here that had, they had great. Charlie Kyer comes to mind, the basketball coach up in High Point.
Yeah, John Pugh from Wallkill Valley.
John Pugh, great guy.
Great guy, yeah.
Great guy. Frank Virtue from Franklin High School.
Yeah,
Frank's still alive and doing well.
Good, yeah. He stops by every once in a while and says hello to me and still talks basketball. He loved the game.
He loved the game. So many great people came through up here. Sparta, I remember there was a guy, Andy Anderson. He was involved in athletics up here for a long time. Coached baseball. He was involved in basketball. There was no such thing as hockey or any of that, which we have now, which is very expensive. But these people just continue to work and operate, and it's amazing how they're doing. I just think about Pat McCarty used to be an official up here.
Yeah, I remember Pat.
Okay, he's passed on, I believe, now. He was up here. Great athletic directors as yourself, John, up here, too. Let's just go take a look at that quick. Gary Sparta from Vernon.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy, Bill Edelman, who I
good friend of
worked
mine.
with him, right. Did a terrific job. Ted Barbado.
Yep, Sparta High School.
Sparta High School. I'm trying to think who was at Pope John for a number of years, but I know there's a gal there right now.
Al Fort used to be the athletic director a number of years ago.
Right, yeah. And
a lot of great guys over at Newton.
Yeah.
The AD and coach. I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. but a lot of great people built the foundation.
They did, John.
For high school sports in Sussex County, you know, and the big sports, like you said back then, you know, high school football, obviously a huge wrestling county,
big wrestling,
big time wrestling here.
You think of John Gill
Wish
right
we
away.
could get that sport to come to college. We've been talking about it,
right?
Trying to figure out how we can do it, and you know, baseball, another good sport in the county, a lot of good athletes. You know, in those sports over the years.
You're looking at, I mean, wrestling is like this huge up here with Johnny Gardner there at High Point, and you know, John Gill at Kittatinny.
Yep.
They brought wrestling along here in the county. I think that the two of the top schools. I mean, Bob Poggi, who's the AD over there at Lenape now, was a wrestling coach for a long time. But you can remember back, John, and to see that if you did not get into these gymnasiums for basketball or wrestling in the winter, by 6 o'clock you never got a seat.
Yeah, I remember that. Sold out. Sometimes they had pre-sale on tickets on big games and everything. Yeah, you wouldn't get in.
No,
you would not get to see the game.
I think that you know, you look around at some of the other schools too. I mean, the AD in Kittatinny now has been there for a long time.
That's Bob Carroll.
Yep, Chris Carroll.
Chris Carroll.
And Bill Foley has taken over for Bill Edelman up there. And here's a.
He came here. He went to Sussex County Community College, baby. Way to go, Bill Foley.
Yeah, good job, Bill. Keep it up. And there you are, folks, and everybody listening. This is just an opportunity that Bill Foley can play any sport, I think. He plays tennis. He can play basketball. He coached it. He can play golf with the best of them, and tremendous. He's a tremendous athlete. I think he could swim. He's a swimmer as well. So, but again, you know, there's so many great memories and great people that made this county what it is today for all these young. And I'm telling the parents right now, listen, you can have an opportunity, and your kids can come make history too. And the college level, start here at Sussex County Community College.
Yeah, that story about, you know, Bill Foley.
Yeah,
our motto. Start here, go anywhere.
Exactly.
Bill Foley started here many years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and got his degree, went into teaching, worked his way up, coached for many years, you know, up there at Vernon, and now has moved into the athletic director's chair up there. That's just a great story, you know, about somebody seizing the opportunity when this college was extremely young, you know, and didn't have a lot of respect at that time. But I think we've gotten more and more respect, and we're going to continue to grow and prosper here. In Newton. I
think so too, and I think the programs academically, where you can now transfer your credits and everything and move over to other colleges and take that, and the students that are graduating now, the 2-year kids that are coming off the sports, John, and everything. Sad to see them go, obviously, but also happy for them that they're going to move on to the next level.
Yeah.
I was thinking, you know, we were talking about a lot of these different coaches and everything else. West Milford, that's where I went to high school. I learned a lot in college, and that's why I'm very interested when we talk, John, all the time about what goes on in college, what happens. I'm always interested in listening to the college side of things. I got the high school stuff down, but I always, when we talk, I love to hear, like, when you're going to region meetings and, you know, and how admired you are in the region, which you are, and that's for all the years and dedication that you've put in. And it comes out. And every time I go with you, if we go to a Final Four or we travel here to a different location and stuff, you're the first person everybody knows. So it shows you all the time and effort.
That.
You're welcome, John. And all the time and effort that you put in, and how much you do care about not only the athletes but the student athletes. That's how I would say it. So
yeah, well, I appreciate that, Bill. And when you're in this business, that's what it's about. It's about the students. It's about the athletes, and how we can make things better for them, make things equitable, you know, on the playing field.
I think that's what it's all about. There's nothing obviously you know, more important than that.
Yeah. Well, hey, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. You've been
it's great.
A great guest. You've been listening to the Skylander Sports Scene right here on WRSK 97.5, your cruising oldies station.